We are live.
Cool.
So, welcome to episode 3 of the Weekend Cast. I am behind the curtain at the Deep office.
I will pick a name soon, but as of right now, I'm unnamed.
And I'm Free the Opposition at Free Opposition.
All right. And you said you had a thing.
Mine wasn't very in depth, but I was just more curious about I saw that Ice Cube went to Bill Maher's thing after he made that comment.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It wasn't really about that, but that kind of reminded me of it. And it was more or less just kind of I guess if you guys thought it was what you guys felt about it. If you thought it was it was, I don't know. Do you think it was inappropriate? I mean, it wasn't completely out of context.
No, but I think the climate is just so tense right now that it's unnecessary to be adding fuel to the fire. I guess. And I think that was unnecessary. Just ugh. Yeah, it's cringeworthy because you just know everyone's gonna freak the fuck out about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's okay. You give comedians a bit of leeway when it comes to this kind of stuff, because they're trying to do a thing. So it really lands on whether it was funny or not. Was it funny in context? And that helps sort of take the heat off.
Do you think that if it was a right wing person that says something like that, that it would have been less or more
a right wing comedian?
Saying that on his show? Do you think he would get that much heat for it, or do you think the left would
He'd probably get more heat for it for sure, because then there's already the assumption that he means it in a mean-spirited way. Most people give Bill Maher the benefit of the doubt that he doesn't mean it in a mean-spirited way.
Yeah.
That he's maybe just an idiot.
Yeah, I would say so too. But after, I think we talked about it and we looked up his ex-girlfriend. Have you seen his ex-girlfriend? Bill Maher's ex-girlfriend?
No.
She's like a black playboy. She was, which was kind of interesting. And she sued him after their breakup because she claimed that he was using racial slurs towards her in the relationship, but also because she promised him or he promised her that she could basically not have to work and he would be her sugar daddy or something like that. So she sued him. I just thought it was pretty interesting, the fact that he would use that word and then just to look up oh, he likes black chicks.
Yeah, no, and that's why it's sort of it lands on whether it's a funny joke or not, because people know he's not that kind of, he's not a racist in that kind of way.
But I guess the feeling is that he was using it too comfortably, because he just kind of let it out. There was no hesitation. He didn't even warn anybody for it. He just dropped it. This is everyday conversation.
Now, in your opinion, do you think, now not thinking about what other people think, but in your opinion, do you think that's something that you would let slide, or do you think that's something that you would say, dude, that's inappropriate?
If we were talking at a house and he just said that?
If it was a if it was a joke that he was saying, oh, I'm gonna do this on TV, and your thought process isn't concerning, oh, people are gonna think that's bad. It's more of do you think the audience would laugh?
Yeah, I would say I don't think the audience.
You don't think the audience would laugh?
No.
Yeah, and again, I actually didn't hear the joke in its context. I just know it was about, I hear people twittering about it. So I know it was a reference about being a house nigga.
Yeah. He was we're going to have you come on over. We're going to have you outside working in the fields or something like that. And then he's oh, and that's when he said it. And then I was I saw the show before I saw people being mad about it. And it's just really kind of funny because I was just oh, that's just kind of a stereotypical joke. Stereotypical, that's where you'd go, oh, we'll have you work in the fields. The first stereotypical joke is right there, a racist joke about black people working in the fields. That's almost everyone's first initial go-to, talk about people working in the fields.
Yeah, and a common insult is that you put out of somebody who's a bootlicker or a brown noser, right? Is you call them a house nigga. You call them because they're the ones who got to live in the house with massa. So that comment itself is like an old sort of just way to sort of demean somebody. But yeah, it's used to sort of mean that like being, I don't know, I guess used to it. Anyways, oh shit. So I don't know. Bill Maher's an idiot a lot of times.
Yeah, I always thought he was pretentious myself.
Yeah,
He's very pretentious, but what are you gonna do? Comedians sort of get a bit of leeway. It's not like,
before
he's not a
it
fucking
used
senator.
to be like more religious oriented. Like he was just very
His show?
pompous and just his attitude, and so that's why I liked him a little bit more. But lately, he's been on an anti-Bernie, like Bernie supporters crusade or anti-millennials, and he's been making like stupid ass comments, and it's so egotistical.
What is the stereotypes of millennials? Because only like I've heard Bill Maher say the weird thing with like
shorts.
And I'm like, I never
and
heard
they eat cereal at night.
like what's the
It's
stereotype
all-
of a millennial? then?
It's all over the place. It's whatever you want it to be. You know, it basically is just like a vaguish fear of the next generation and what they bring when they come to power.
Well, if you're asking like the baby boomers, the stereotypical millennial is like somebody who's just on social media all day, somebody who's a slacker, who's not working hard, they don't own a house, they just complain that they don't have things, they're self-entitled, things like that. But I think if you have to ask a millennial, that definition is so much different. Because they don't understand, like, and it's the baby boomers who are doing this. Because I even told you there was that article that was talking about how, millennials are so dumb that they think owning a dog is even close to owning a human. They think it'll prepare them for having a kid. And the whole article was so condescending and made just ridiculous claims. Like, you have to know immediately, guys, that a human costs so much more. It's like, well, duh. And that's how the whole article was. Like, yeah, duh, we know. So I think baby boomers have more of just this negative idea of millennials.
Well, what it is just them sort of circle jerking each other. They're saying these things to each other.
Oh, definitely.
So it's just
They're saying it to other old people to read their articles. Yeah, those fucking millennials.
It's clickbait.
Because you could even see in the comment section of, I think I was reading this article on Facebook, on the comments on their Facebook page where all the millennials were kind of sticking up for it, and then you had the old people that were like, yeah, those millennials are always going on their ski vacations. I'm like, what fucking millennials going out on ski vacations? Like, you can't just lock your dog up in the kennel. Something stupid like that.
It's funny because like if you just say millennial as in anybody under 35, then pretty much you can run the gamut. Some of them are going on ski vacations and some of them are fucking living on the streets. So
What is it, 35 to...
But who's the average? Like, what is the average millennial complaining about in politics and things like that? Like, that, I would say that's kind of the millennials that are worried and struggling, right? Because you're coming out of a housing crisis, you're coming out of an economy that's not really stable. And on top of that, the average millennial owns or is going to school, so they have student loans. They can't own a house. And so I think these...
Stop eating avocado toast every day.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, that's their like idea of what millennials are. And in real life, we're trying to tell them, no, we're not. We're nothing like that.
And in the meantime, they're also like building Web 2.0. You know, it was all dudes like in their late 20s, mid 20s that were like building things like Facebook and YouTube and shit like that.
That's why you just can't even care what these old people have to say. No offense to like old people, but like the majority. No, I wouldn't say the majority.
We're building,
of them. But a lot of them hate, like, or just they just think they're so wise beyond our years. But what they don't understand is we've had the power of the internet our entire lives, pretty much, growing up.
We've crowdsourced a lot of these problems, and we're figuring out better solutions.
Exactly. Them. We're a little bit smarter than they think we are. It's like they're treating us like children. I guess that's more of what's annoying. It's like these old people who fucked up the economy before me, who made our government so corrupt, are trying to say, oh, we're so much smarter than you guys. You guys don't know anything. You Bernie bros. You don't know what the real world's like. Why wouldn't you vote for Hillary? It's like, fuck you. You don't know what the real world's like. Going off on a tangent, because I really hate this topic. Pisses me off.
You sound triggered.
I feel like a rebellious teenager, though, is what I feel like. I am triggered. I'm like... You guys are a little bit older than me, so you don't quite have the same... You guys are barely millennials.
Yeah.
So you don't have the same kind of feeling of just being like...
And because I'm barely a millennial, I'm proud of that shit.
Yeah. Because you guys don't get stereotyped that way.
I like the idea that whatever my box is or whatever. But I like the fact that I'm in this sort of in between where I'm old enough to have seen technology built up.
Yep.
So the young kids are like they're in the
More
Apple
into it.
they're in the Apple generation where they want the computer to do everything for them. They want it to do, and they want it to be more and more like sort of just their crutch. And versus old people who sort of don't get it. You don't understand what's cool about this stuff.
We came right into time, so we know what it's
We
like
can
with
appreciate
it,
it.
and we know what it's like with it, and we know what it's like without it.
Yeah, see, I just barely remember not having it. But the interesting thing is I think I'm in that age group where I literally evolved with it. Like, every step of the way, I had enough of it that I would understand it. So phones, you first have your phone, everyone's using, like, it's a cell phone, it's a new thing. For me, I was, like, super young when they came out, so I really couldn't even have one. And then when I was old enough, I could text, and that was, like, the next evolution. But it, like, came with me along my way. So at, like, 11, I had a phone that just was like a flip phone I could text on. And then you mature till you're, like, 15, 14, and you got, like, phones with apps. Like, it was, like, the next graduation, which is why I think we've driven it so far. 20-year-olds who were, like, creating apps and becoming billionaires, things like that, or millionaires off of it.
That was the one thing that blew up was the idea of software development. That like randos who knew any kind of basic software could like make a little app and put it on these platforms, these new phone platforms that everyone was getting onto.
Yeah.
And suddenly you have like a couple 100 million people just suddenly downloading your thing because that's what's cool. And that's how like a little game about throwing fucking birds at a bunch of pigs or whatever it is. Fucking can get a fucking feature-length movie.
Yeah. Where was that? What was that one game where there were like drainage pipes up and down the screen? You were like pig or whatever you had to fly through. And he wanted to stop the game because it became too famous or something.
Yeah, I never played that.
I played it one time.
Never played that.
I'm not one for following those. I don't like playing games on my phone in the first place.
Like apps?
Yeah, I know. So people are all about these games on the phone. I'm like, this is just...
Yeah, I don't play.
I'm gonna play a real game. This is like fake. I can tell it's fake. It's not entertaining enough. Your Vitas are the next step. Like, those are good because they're, if games could play like they could. But they do. They have the, like, handle things you could stick them in.
That's so weird.
It's kind of cool.
I mean,
It's cool, but it's so hard to play like that.
Yeah.
They just gotta give the Vita just like
More attention.
the same functionality as a phone.
Mm-hmm.
And with the sort of like leaning it toward
a gamer phone.
A gamer phone.
That's cool.
If they do a second Vita, it'd be pretty good. I think
Vita 2.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty good.
Did you talk
Vita.
on this?
Vistas.
Yeah, I'm talking on that. I mean, I think the PSP.
I think we just came up with it.
No, I mean they're not
Make
gonna
the
listen.
camera as good. No, we need to do it. Make the camera as good as like a regular camera.
Yeah, let's do it.
Front facing, back facing.
I mean, that'd be funny to make a third-party device that plays Sony stuff.
Not just Sony.
That uses the Sony OS.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't like their OS. I don't. It's like clunky. It feels like it's trying.
We need it to play their games, though.
No, we could have them play Windows games because they got Windows phones and things like
It'll
that.
play all the games.
Exactly. Have it more like a computer so that, just like Xbox, there's games that play on Xbox and PlayStation on the computer. We'll just make a computer one. So those companies can make games for us.
It's perfect.
We'll revolutionize the gaming phone world.
But yeah, so you guys see Wonder Woman?
Nope.
Have you seen Wonder Woman?
Nope.
I'm gonna assume that Free the Opposition has not seen Wonder Woman.
Nope.
No way we can
Say
ask
no.
her at any point in time.
Say
But
no.
I watched it and it's not bad. It's got like a 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes sense because if you understand how Rotten Tomatoes works, Rotten Tomatoes it's like a yes or no. Like 96% of critics, or some, I think 93 or whatever percent, said yes. A very arbitrary set of yes. That could all be floating. For me, it floats somewhere it's like a 7. Movie's like a 7.
Get a yes.
And that would get a yes.
Okay.
That would get a yes out of me. 7 out of 10 would get a yes out of me. So
I think 7. I think it'd be a 6. I think go more lower. I think it's pretty good. A pretty good yes.
No. I mean, what I would give it, and that would definitely be a yes.
I think generally 1 is a 6.
I think 5. I think anything over. I think 6 is a yes, or even 5 could be
6
a yes.
is a yes. Yeah. 5 is even maybe a yeah, but 5 could be a no because you're on the fence. Because you're really on the fence. Yeah, if you like a little bit more than halfway, that 5.5, then yeah. But I say 5 is probably not good enough for
So
that guarantee.
as per like the Rotten Tomatoes score, like 90 some odd % of people said yes to this movie.
Cool.
Which is crazy considering the other classic movies, the Batman vs Superman.
What's the demographic for that?
18 to 50-year-olds.
Okay, that sounds right.
That's usually how they block it. It's kind of arbitrary.
it.
There's like this many people.
They get the senior citizen discount, so they could definitely track it.
But yeah, I personally seen it, and it is good. It's like I said, it's definitely like a 7, maybe even an 8. The main thing that kills it for me, without spoilers, is the climax. It does what most of these movies kind of do, which is too much of a big CG sort of mess as a climax. You know what I mean? Fighting the big thing at the end. When the scene where she takes out a whole German regiment, the one they kind of showed in the trailer, where she's blocking bullets in no man's land. Mm-hmm. That whole scene is fucking amazing. And that's done really good.
That's not really good.
But I think
That's done really good.
At least for me, I don't mind that too much because I know that's kind of the gripe with Transformers, right? Is there so much CG, cheesy battle?
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of what you're meaning?
Yeah, like my personal thing is like it just looks like
a mess.
It looks like a mess. It looks like trash heaps fighting each other. They already have like the sort of fighting style camera work where it's shaky and it cuts a lot. On top of the fact that their colors are monotone. So I very quickly lose like what's doing what and why anything they're doing should be cool. When it's fucking giant robots fighting. Figure it out.
I don't mind it. Like
giant robots
I like
in Wonder
that kind
Woman?
of.
No, I'm sorry. Transformers.
Oh, okay.
But in Wonder Woman, they do Zack Snyder style slow mo, and they kind of abuse it a bit. But in general, the
Why
fight.
do you say Zack Snyder? Because he directed it?
Because he produced it.
Oh, he
He produced it, and he wrote some of it.
Okay.
You can actually see some of the Snyderisms in the movie.
That's funny.
Including in the ending a lot. The movie was written by 3 people, and you can kind of see a bit of that. Not as bad as other movies, of course, but. But for me, it's weird because most movies have like either a strong beginning or a strong ending. This one has like a strong middle. It's very interesting because the beginning of the movie, you start on Themyscira, where she's from, and it shows her the little girl and shit like that, and like her
How long is
training.
the movie?
It was about 2 hours solid.
Okay. They could have cut off the last half an hour, and it could have been the movie right there. But they had the other half an hour, so they make you come back for the second one.
Did you cut? Yeah.
For the setup.
But yeah, it's not until like the dude shows up, crash lands, and like they take her. She gets to see what the outside world is like. Then the movie's like really cool, and then the climax hit. Like some of it's cool. Some of the fight she does with the final boss is cool, but then it gets really CG and stupid. But in general, I liked her character. Like she was kick ass. She was taking out crowds, and I liked her character arc. That was the main thing. What they nailed, I think, perfectly was her character arc, which was from naivete to like sort of really understanding the sort of nuance that the world is grayer than you think, and you can't save everybody, and sometimes all you can do is your best, and all that kind of crap, in a non-cheesy way. Like her coming to grips with the fact that it's World War I, and the Germans aren't just the bad guys. Everyone's just trying to do their thing.
Recording in my closet, and because it's like all surrounded with clothes and stuff, and it's carpeted, it actually sounded really good.
You got to set up like a little mini table there and some pillows.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna order a backdrop, and then there's like an HD webcam for like $60.
That's cool. We can get a green screen.
A green screen.
And then put something in the background like.
No, actually, I was looking for things online, and I saw I'm just going to get like a huge cardboard backdrop, maybe something like this, and paint it like navy blue because that's my color. And then I'm going to do like either a matte, like I'll do it. I don't know, like an off color of the blue, I guess. But I found a vinyl graphic of the Lady Justice.
Okay.
And it's just so I'm just gonna paint her there and like peel it off, so it's like just off of it, have her like on my side. I think it'll look cool. So I'm gonna do that for mine. I thought about put like lights on the outside because it's still gonna kind of be girly because mine's girly. So fuck it. Because all the other like Humanists and Psycho Attack, they're all manly. You got like the lines and they're all black and white.
No,
I pretty it up in here.
Just get like we have like decals at work and just like put decals on it, like a cherry blossom tree or some shit.
No, that's too girly.
I would get one of those. Like I would get.
I
Cherry
guess
blossoms.
less girly and more commercialized.
Again, cherry blossoms are not girly.
I mean, I was thinking of
This
some.
it's 2017. Okay, it's current year.
It is girly.
We're beyond.
I'm
that
saying
kind
it's
of,
girly because I was looking at these backgrounds and there were Baroque backgrounds and I was like, ooh, that'd be pretty. And there were like flower ones too, and I'm like, ooh, that'd be pretty. I'll use those. And I had all these ideas and I was like, no, this is just too girly. I need some semblance of like not girly, but just.
But then you don't want to be too neutral.
No, I'm gonna have like little pretty pom poms and lights and stuff, but I'm still gonna do them like all navy blue, gray, and sparkles like silver. So I'll have like a background of bookcase that has that in the back, so it'll still be girly. Because it's gonna be girly. I'm just not gonna do flowers, because that's girly for sure.
I don't know. I guess I got a thing for like Japanese sort of aesthetic.
I guess if you did it all, like your whole thing.
It's like I got like a rice paper screen.
There you go. As long as it's not just the background of girly things on there. Of flowers. He wants to put flowers in his background. He's trying to tell me it's not girly.
Not particularly, not flowers, cherry blossoms.
In the back of what?
We're talking about like getting good audio, and the closet seemed like it put out good audio, or good clear.
Oh yeah.
And when it's you know how these things go, they just turn into conversations.
Having the background be cherry blossoms.
Mm-hmm.
One thing led to another, and then turned into Alien versus Predator. Which one's stronger?
Which one's stronger?
Do
who
you guys
can lift the car? Like who can lift the 800,000 pound car more?
It's like they both go through the Ninja Warrior course, and then see which one makes it. I think the aliens got it.
I don't know. Predator is pretty like animalistic. It seems like
But he's also like heavy.
Yeah, but he's agile.
Yeah, he
like
can climb.
predator.
He can climb trees pretty good.
Like a cat. I think a cat can do that pretty good.
But as fast as the alien would go through the course. I mean, the alien. Some of those things are a bit weird. So I don't know how smart the alien is.
It's kind of awkward too. I think doesn't.
It's kind of even weird because like it's like you have to like what are you trying to figure out? Because let's just even say it did win. What does that even mean? It could do the Ninja Warrior thing better. Put the two things in a room.
Dude, it's bragging rights. It's bragging rights.
So then what else? What other games can we have in Govers?
They would also bowl, but competitive bowling where someone stands near the pins and tries to stop the bowling ball. It's also known as extreme bowling. You could also have them like whatever Mario. Mario does like every other sport. You just do that. Alien versus Predator, fucking golf.
Mario Kart.
Alien versus Predator kart. Alien versus Predator fucking
Aliens.
tennis.
Predators win that one. The go-kart one.
Predators win the go-kart one?
Yeah.
Aliens can't drive?
Who can do the Stairmaster better? Predators can do that shit. Because I don't think their knees bend that way, the aliens.
There was a fighting game, wasn't there, where you could play like Alien and Predator? But you could also play a bunch of other people.
Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat.
That's when
And the fatalities.
Okay.
You can be Jason. You can be
That's
Predator.
That's funny. So Jason's been coming back. How's a 30-year-old franchise still fucking fresh to death like that?
Because that game just came out and boosted it.
Mortal Kombat came out
a couple years ago.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Jason.
Jason itself, yeah. Jason was in a Mortal Kombat game as a playable character.
And then he came out with the game, this one. And Ruben's End, he's coming large after 30 years.
It's still, and they did a remake not too long ago, like a little under a decade ago, and they're trying to put out another remake because, you can't figure out how to do a fucking slasher film current age, of course, because that's just difficult. It's a dude in a mask killing folk. Just make it good.
It's hard though, because how many people want to star in an action movie? A horror movie. It seems like
People want to
top
make
actors and stuff don't really want to. That's why they're not in them.
Wait till Marvel starts putting out horror movies.
Who?
Marvel movies, and they start grabbing some of their horror characters. But totally switching subjects. Which Harry Potter house are you guys from?
Oh, Gryffindor for sure.
Do you know? Have you been sorted by Pottermore fucking sorting hat?
No.
I have.
No. Oh, you have?
I have. I'm a Ravenclaw.
Oh, that's cool.
It's official.
Where do I do this at?
Pottermore is like a website or whatever. It's like the I don't know if it's like a fan made one or if like it's like an official one. I don't
want
know.
to do it. Can I do it right now? Is it long?
I think it's kind of long. You can check it out though. I think it's like 30 some odd questions, and it's one of those questions where like none of them are the wrong answer. So I'll just like ends up giving you a personality thing.
The Sorting Hat.
You either get sorted or you get sorted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was cool. I'm Ravenclaw, and I was looking into like stuff about them and how you would think that their like symbol would be like a raven, because you know all the things have like an animal symbol for their house.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a raven. It's a golden eagle. And you would ask, of course, what's that all about? And I'll answer for you.
Yeah, I'm fucking tired of shit, dude.
Okay, I'll do mine, and then when comes back, or
Yeah, no.
I'll do mine,
We'll
and
do it
then when blank comes back, I'll do his.
I would have just gone back and beeped it.
Well, I made it easier for you now. You can just erase that part. Okay, here's for me. I don't know how many questions there are, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
What would you want to be remembered as? Good, wise, great, bold.
This is the exact test that I took.
Great. What would you not want to be remembered as? Selfish, ordinary, cowardly, ignorant. Probably cowardly. If you were to choose a potion, which would you choose? A wisdom potion, a power potion, a glory potion, a love potion? Probably a wisdom potion. How would you want people to remember you? Opinion only matters when I'm alive. Ask for more stories of you adventures. Misspell there. Miss you and smile. Think of your achievements. Probably miss me and smile. What scent brings you comfort? Home, sea, crackling fire log, parchment. Ooh, crackling fire log smells really good though. Oh no, this is a big question. You are given 4 boxes, but only allowed to open one. The first is an ornate gold box, which says, "Unbearable temptation lies within." The second is a black box with a rune you know to be the mark of Merlin. The third is a tortoise's shell in which a small animal seems to be squeaking inside. The fourth is a pewter box that reads, "I only open for the worthy." Which do you select? Ooh. Animal squeaking inside, unbearable temptation. Oh. What is the mark of Merlin?
Just Merlin's name. So it's like it would be something that belonged to him.
Okay. I said only that worthy shall open this one. I opened that one. Which instrument do you find most pleasing? Drums, trumpet, violin, piano. I really like the violin. Here we go. You find yourself in a room with 4 goblets before you, each containing a different potion. Which one would you drink? The inky black one that makes odd visions swim before you, the silvery glitter potion that appears to consist of crushed diamonds, the golden potion which reflects sunlight across the room, the purple one that smells of plums and chocolates.
Crazy, right?
The golden potion.
The golden one that shines up the room.
Yeah, that sounds intense. I want whatever that is.
I'll have some of that, please.
You are in a whimsical garden. Which objects attract your attention? The silver trees with golden apples, red toadstools which appear to be talking to each other, the wizard statue with the giant twinkling eye, the luminous pool that seems to have something lurking in its depths. Probably the toadstools which are talking to themselves. It seems real interesting.
Yeah, what does toadstool have to say to each other? Especially when they've lived together their whole lives.
Yeah, and they were cute. They're like red with the white dustings on top. All right, Hogwarts is burning down, and there are 3 important things you must save, but are in different locations. There are student records, a dragonpox cure, and a book of Merlin. In which order do you save the items? Cure, book, records. Cure, records. I would do cure, records, and then the book. Oh shit. Which do you most want to be? Intimidated, envied. Oh, sorry. Imitated, envied, liked, trusted, feared, praised. Probably liked. What do you find most hard to cope with? Hunger, boredom, cold, being ignored, loneliness. The most hard to cope with. Boredom's pretty bad. We'll do that one. Which are you most looking forward to at Hogwarts? broom flying, hexes and jinxes, castle secrets, magical creatures, learning every area of magic. Yeah, that's for sure. Which power do you wish you had? Super strength, invisibility, read minds, change appearance, change the past, talk to animals. I'd want to read minds. I think that'd be cool. Which animal are you most eager to learn about? Werewolves, centaurs, merpeople, vampires, goblins, trolls, ghosts. Ooh. Vampires. There's a lot of questions to this one. You notice one of your classmates has a cheat sheet and is using it during a test. After the test, Professor Flitwick confronts you and asks if you friend cheated. How do you respond? Tell Flitwick and be rewarded with health points. Confront your classmate and tell him no. I would say I don't know. This is my friend we're talking about. I'm not going to be like, yeah, he cheated. No. Of course I'm going to lie for my friend. You meet a four-way fork in the road. Which path do you choose? The lantern-lit alleyway, the wide sunny grass path, the cobble ancient buildings path, ooh. I'm gonna do the cobbled ancient buildings. Yeah. A muggle confronts you and says they know you are wizards. You respond by telling them you are worried about their mental health, asking why they think so, offering them a jinx sample, agreeing and walking away bluffing. I'd ask them why they think so. I'm doing the sorting hat quiz. I should be almost done, I think. You are walking through the Forbidden Forest at night when you hear a twig snap. What do? Proceed with caution and conceal your wand. Draw wand and stand your ground. Withdraw into the shadows. Draw wand and find the source of the noise. I would withdraw into the shadows. Like an assassin. You must cross a bridge, but there is a ferocious troll blocking the way. He won't go down without a fight. You try to confuse him. Volunteer. How many questions are there?
How many different schools, buildings are there?
It's 4 houses. Houses in the schools.
4 clubs.
4 club, yeah, and everyone gets sorted into them, and they compete with each other throughout the school year for different
That's
things.
Cool. What are they called? All 4 of them?
Gryffindor.
Mm-hmm. Harry Potter one. That's where he is, right?
Yeah, he ends up being sorted. And actually, it's a funny moment in the story because the way it works is they put this magical hat on you, and the hat talks and shit like that, and the hat decides. And the hat was going to put him in a different house, Slytherin. And the kid's like, not Slytherin, not in his head. And things like, you sure? Oh, whatever, okay, Gryffindor. And he puts him in Gryffindor.
That's pretty cool.
And yeah, so there's Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff are the 4 houses.
Calculating my results.
Hufflepuff.
Oh, you're on? Okay.
I should have done, there was only like 6 more. But they were like this or that.
Do any of them really come into play?
Hufflepuff!
She's a Hufflepuff.
Congratulations, you have been sorted into the House of Hufflepuff. You are very dedicated to things you truly care about. You are fair, kind, and tolerant, and have many friends and are well liked. House colors: black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. House ghost: Fat Friar. Professor Sprout is the house head. Cool. Badger, that's a house animal.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hufflepuff.
And yeah, I'm a Ravenclaw. And
Hufflepuff.
10 points for Gryffindor. You're probably a Gryffindor. I'm almost sure.
That's funny.
That means we would be in different houses.
Gryffindor.
And
Get back, Voldemort.
you're not supposed to say his name, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Because he can hear. Anybody who says his name, he can hear.
We're not supposed to say his name or Freddy Krueger's name.
No, and you can't say Candyman's name, but only 3 times when you're looking into a mirror.
Bloody Marys too.
It's just getting real, guys.
Are they gonna make these types of games? That'd be fun. I want this company to make all these games.
Yeah, I want them to make the Freddy Krueger game.
That'd be crazy. Imagine being Freddy Krueger and you can morph. You can run and then morph yourself into a drawer.
Imagine.
And then if she goes to check it, you can do some stupid Freddy Krueger shit.
Imagine user-created levels that you can upload into there.
That seems like a lot of work.
Crazy fantasy worlds.
That is cool, yeah.
For people to hunt in, So people are running through a boiler room, then suddenly they're in a fucking field, and then they're in a suburban place.
That's
cool. I'm losing my mind.
That's cool. And you just got to get away from Freddy.
You just got to get away from Freddy because he can come out of anywhere.
Wake yourself up or something.
Yeah. There's like ways to wake yourself up.
They should make that the first person mode of this game and call it like
first person.
Or I mean the
single
player for this game.
Just trying to. I hope they do the movies. I hope they like just recreate the movies one by one.
Which one? Like Freddy Krueger, Jason's, and all those movies.
In this game, in the Jason game, the single player includes like basically just them doing the movies.
That'd be pretty sweet.
I don't know if they get the licensing for all the people, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, they get the license to the movie. They get the characters and people. They can make the likenesses and stuff.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, that'd be really cool, and that would knock this game up. Because Angry Joe, I watched a review for Angry Joe for the Jason game, and he generally loved the shit out of it. He thinks the core game is great. Cool. His main gripe is the same gripe everyone else has. It feels like a sort of half-done game put out at full price. And he says until they fix the bugs in the networking, until they like put in a single player and sort of fix up.
I think I told you last time too, my only worry with having a first player is I just don't know how you're going to do it, because the first player is going to be, or the single player is going to be you running away from Jason in some fashion or another. And computer Jason is just never going to be player Jason. So I think they need to do, I don't even need them to do.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
I don't even want it. I just want them to focus fixing the rooms. That's all I want them
to
do.
Make more maps.
Yeah, because I don't want to play against more maps. I just don't want to play against
more Jasons, more different characters,
more clothes, more hairstyles. Like focus on customization.
More kills for Jason.
Don't even worry about
more different perks.
A single player mode.
Different characters.
Definitely more maps.
More maps.
More maps would be killer.
I want like a Fallout customization of your character, because you could just make you. This could be an MMO Jason game. It would be so much fun. And you already have the perks that is kind of like a RPG element to it, so they just need to go with that.
No, absolutely. I mean, they're listening and stuff like that. That's one of the things that makes game companies different than other sort of like entertainment companies, is that they are far more open to like people's customers' input. They have the same sort of trappings that movies do, where like they put out AAA crap that like they hits a formula, like your Call of Duties and whatnot, that just a formula that knows it'll work every year, your Madden and whatnot. But in general, it's a lot more receptive to its audience than other mediums.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very, very interesting.
I agree.
And it's because, once again, it's all young folk.
Mm-hmm.
There are all these other people who like are running the field in fucking gaming are like under 35-year-olds.
Yep.
And so they already live in the box of like talking to each other and listening to people bitch about stuff.
Yeah, and that's what one of the things that kind of irks me about the stereotype of a millennial being like, oh, always on your phone, they're never socializing. It's like it's almost like a community forum. Like we're all just going and like we're all like standing in a community, and someone has a soapbox, and we all have a platform to say something on it, and it's so cool. Specifically on places like Facebook, I follow some news people on Facebook, so there's lots of comments on there, lots of people on Facebook, so I feel as though I'm interacting with lots of people, and I'm listening to a lot of people's opinions on things, and I feel like I'm interacting with them. And yeah, it might be fake. It's not like person to person, but
I think like I Twitter a lot. I may have mentioned this before, but I like the Twittering. And what I love about Twitter the best is that I get the field. I get both expert written articles from different news sources, and I get just people chattering about it, you know? And that's where you get sort of a lot of context in any situation. When somebody writes an article and you got like 20 people trying to call them on it and shit like that, and presenting other shit, you get a much sort of better idea of what's going on and what people feel about a thing.
Absolutely. It is like instant check. Like I'm instantly checking your facts. That's why I don't trust news articles that don't have comments. I don't even care who you are. If you don't have comments on your article, I don't care what you have to say. I'll weigh your stuff less heavily than somebody who does, because I'm looking at what other people are saying right away. And there's always people in there who just like don't agree with you, don't agree with your argument.
Yeah,
and I like to hear them out right away. Like, oh, what's the other side saying about this?
What's the other argument? What's the
free
what's
the opposition?
Plug.
No, but that's what's nice about comment sections. But that's why I like Twitter. I do like Twitter a lot because it's
Here
a lot
we
quicker.
go. But
Facebook, there's so much more I can say. I can make a full-on point.
how much are they paying you? How much is Facebook paying you?
Do I shill Facebook a lot?
No, I shill for fucking Twitter a lot, just because, like, it's what's up in the hood.
But you have to use your Facebook like you use your Twitter. So you have to don't have friends on there, follow news sources.
That's the thing. I don't get how you can follow people, because that's the main thing. I use it as a news source, Twitter. So I have all these people that I follow, and everything they put up instantly goes on a page. Or I don't see how that works on Facebook.
It does the same thing.
I can follow people, and then like everything they're posting ends up on my wall.
Yeah, I would say a lot of them have their own Facebooks, I think. But if not, there are actual people like I would say who we kind of do, where we just retweet kind of the news that's going on. So I follow the Real Progressives, and they just put out Bernie videos. They retweet, because Bernie has a Facebook page, so they'll do the same thing, not retweet, but repost, just like you would see with other people. So you'd see journalists are reposting Bernie's Facebook message, which is the same message that he's saying on Twitter, but he's actually writing out bigger messages on Facebook because he can. So it's better there because you have more of an in-depth conversation. And Twitter, you're only just getting, unless you want to read somebody's like 20 tweets.
They're called threads, okay?
Threads. If you want to read somebody's whole thread, you can, but Facebook sometimes is more convenient. In the comments, too, everybody can comment on the article, so you're getting people saying more of what their point of view is as opposed to just a little bit. But I still feel like it's socializing. I feel like I'm having a conversation with my community, but with my country, and even people randomly from other countries.
Having more characters and stuff to do with.
Yeah,
I'm
having a bigger conversation. As opposed to these old people.
Damn, coming at ya. No, we're ageist as fuck on this podcast. I hope you guys know.
Just maybe I am. I don't know.
No, I sometimes feel very ageist, but that's because I feel like I'm being discriminated by ageist people.
But here's the thing. I don't feel like, I may feel like I'm ageist. I may sound ageist, but I'm not. Because I think we've always been trained to value older people's opinion, right? They're wiser. So I still kind of do that, just...
No, and I do too, and I kind of regret the idea that, like, because of marketing, we've been pushed to sort of believe that young exuberance and shit like that is more important than experience or sort of wisdom in these things. So my thing isn't, like, the idea of older people and the concept of, like, experience and wisdom. It's the idea that some of these people don't have it, and the world is changing too much, and some of them haven't caught on.
Yeah. But I guess the idea of them having more wisdom stems from the chances of them having more life experiences. Obviously, they've done more with their life, so they theoretically should be wiser. But yeah, it shouldn't really be about how old you are that makes how smart you are. It's about the experiences.
I mean,
and the knowledge.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. It's like, look at Trump supporters. You know, these are people who are generally in their like 40s or so. Mm-hmm. You know, they're slightly older and they're rural, and you can talk about how they've been left behind by the neoliberals, and that's all absolutely fair. But there's a sort of like both willful and imposed ignorance on whole sectors. I read an article about how people want to expand Wi-Fi in rural areas. Mm-hmm. And you'll see some of the people in the Twitter comments, were saying we don't need it. Sometimes being disconnected from like the liberal West Coastal elites is a good thing. And it's like that, you know.
That's not what you're connecting to, though.
You're connecting to everything.
Yeah.
And there's a sort of willful want to like be disconnected from reality.
Well, that's the right-wing propaganda, though. That this
makes everything liberal.
Fake news.
Yeah, anything that's futuristic, anything that's left. You know, I don't know. Everything that's more inviting. I don't know how to word it.
Inclusive.
I would say more leading to
the one they really wanted to paint.
Innovation. Innovation seems to be tied with liberalism.
Elitism. Elitism is like a general thing they sort of slap on leftist people. That like they're elitist douchebags who think they're better than us and need to tell us what to do. And that seems to be like a general.
But just to think that hooking up to the internet means that you're hooking up to the liberal world. That's so sad.
And that's the way they want it, because they need people to be stupid about stuff.
And so the right has just smeared any of progress. It's left. It's like they're making them anti-progress. It's sad.
They don't even care.
No, they're just trying to make the bank that they want now. Like, that's the way, like, sort of the global warming thing works, right? Is that oil companies need to sort of make profit margins as big as they can now, because they know it's all going to hell soon.
Yeah.
They know it's all running out soon, and the more they can hold off, the more money they can make as the supply starts dwindling. So that's the goal. It's like, keep this sort of train running as far as we can, to damn anything else.
Here's my question to you is, I guess it still would be pretty bad for the air and stuff like that, but would you still have a car running off like hybrid if gas was like 20 cents a gallon?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
What?
I want electric. I don't care if gas is 10 cents. The fact that electric puts out no emissions is why wouldn't I?
would still ultimately, make it like market.
I don't want to push negative stuff out into the atmosphere.
Right.
What I'm breathing, no matter what causes of what.
Even for if you can get more power.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
And it's funny how the climate change argument has sort of like overwhelmed the general pollution argument about all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like people are talking about like how it's going to destroy the planet and shit like that. Where in general it would kill us. The planet doesn't care. The planet can be a giant ice ball and wouldn't give a shit. It's about whether we'll survive stuff. But in the mix of that, people aren't talking as much about the pollution side of like how this stuff is just not good for any of us, not good for the plants we're eating and the food.
I have respect for Governor Schwarzenegger. I never know how to say his name.
I'm just watching Naga.
I'll bleep it out later.
But he was telling Republicans, kind of arguing about it because he's a Republican. So he's one of the Republicans who supports climate change, this idea that we need to be doing stuff to fix this. And his argument to them was, if you had the choice to sit in a garage with a gas car or with a electric car, which one would you choose? It's that simple. You're going to die in the one with gas, and you're going to live with the one that's electric because it's not giving off any pollutants. It's as simple as that.
If it was a hydrogen fuel cell car, you could probably get water out of the tailpipe and survive longer.
Absolutely.
If you were stuck in your garage for some reason.
Anything but what we have, the gas that we have now.
It's an old design. You lose a lot of energy. Like, you're basically using it. You're trying to contain an explosion and use it to like run a car. And there's so much sort of energy that's lost in almost every single one of those little explosions. It's incredibly dirty for the engine, the wear and tear. Having a battery that runs electrical wires and runs the car, that's just cleaner across the board. It's less moving parts, less stuff that needs to be sort of maintenanced. It's better tech, and there really does seem to be like sort of a push against it by people who are making a lot of money off the status quo that we have now. And that includes government officials bought out.
You want to hear something crazy?
Go ahead. I like crazy.
Okay, so one of our top oil suppliers is investing in renewable energy to be an export.
Yeah, China's doing a lot of that. China has like a big pollution problem, and they're spending billions on developing green tech. And here's the thing where I still think it's a negative thing in a sense. Where what the thing is, they push against the government doing anything to stop it, so that they can step in and build technologies that people will buy to mitigate these things. So rather than stopping coal plants from putting out the bad air, we'll just make a machine that purifies the air, and then everyone will have it in their house. It will make billions of dollars. And that's the thing, that it's like that's why they want to keep it. That's why they deny it as well. They want to keep this train going as far as they can, so the problem becomes bad enough to where their technology that they're going to push in a couple of years is going to sell. Mm-hmm. All their water purifiers and shit like that.
Well, see, I guess I just don't. You'd think that we would be trying hard to not have to waste all the money that we need to invest in Saudi Arabia and things like, anywhere in the Middle East. You would think that we would want to be the one. But imagine all of that money that we wouldn't have to spend. Why do we need those business ties? Right now we're doing evil things in the government to support them because we need their oil. Why wouldn't we just decide that's just a waste of money when we can invest in our own it's just outrageous.
Can we live in the sky? Like, us as humans, like, even if, say, there's, like, a goddamn, freeze over or whatever, we could just live in orbit.
Yeah,
It'd be good.
in the space, but we'd have to build, we're not there yet.
To build
Fully
self-contained
sustain
things.
ourselves,
Yeah, build
yeah.
self-contained things with the air and the water, your food you need.
But we're working on it because we need
But
to
we
get
could.
off this
That's
planet.
pretty easy, though. I'm not saying it's easy, but that's pretty basic.
For not for like all 9 billion of us.
No.
It'd be a culling.
and-
It'd be a culling before that.
Yeah. I guess that's what I
God.
mean. I mean, like, the fact that there could be, like, people surviving in orbit, like the fact that it could happen.
Like
We
even
just-
the people who are
We just don't have the infrastructure yet.
like the people who live in the space station now,
Mm-hmm.
that's still really fucked up to their bodies.
Yeah.
They still need to have food brought to them on a regular basis to be able to stay up there.
Russia just had cargo brought up to their space station last week.
So we're still not there yet in the sense that we can have like like the 100, the show The 100, where we just have like a bunch of space stations that are self-sustaining, living up there. If we could have self-sustaining things in space, then we can build self-sustaining stuff here. And what my dream is that we build sort of like these sort of dome cities, self-sustaining cities, and that way we leave sort of the vast amount of like air between cities, land between cities, sort of like fine. We get rid of lots of the roads and shit like that and travel mostly by air, and that'll help sort of like most of the planet help itself out, because the roads are a big part of what fucks up environments because it cuts off migrations, it cuts off a lot of things that sort of ruin environments. It dices them up, and it leaves a lot of animals trapped, and it contributes to them dying off. So yeah, dome cities and more air travel would be the thing, and then more renewable ways of developing electricity. Safer ways. I don't want to go nuclear, just because it's like a plane crash.
It's unnecessary at this point.
I think it is. It's just not safe enough.
No, it's like, why would you build that when you have catastrophic disaster if something happens to it? Or you build solar panels everywhere, or wind turbines, or ocean turbines. Like, it's unnecessary.
Yeah, I'm really liking like tidal generators and geothermal ones. They seem like the best ones. Solar is great. It has a bit of an environmental effect because some animals can be like fucking roasted.
Oh
going
yeah,
through
I know.
the-
I've seen. I've heard about that.
So you have to kind of sort of like deal with that. The tidal ones seem really cool.
But they have some of the solar ones now are see-through, that they're coming out with glass, so it wouldn't even reflect too much off, I think.
No, that'd be cool. And then also that would also make people put it in their windows.
Yeah.
Make it a standard that office buildings have to put those in the windows, and then boom, now you have buildings that basically collect all the electricity they need to run themselves on their own. You have each little building, each little house being its own energy generator that feeds and takes from the grid,
Yep.
rather than it being sort of like these little hubs that could break down and knock out power to a whole half a town.
They're trying to do that right now. Tesla's already trying to set those up to have little communities that are doing that. And they were saying that the grid would have to pay you for some of these houses that are run on solar power. Specifically, they're relating it to the Tesla one. But yeah, that the grid would end up owing them money every time it was specifically like super sunny outside and you have a battery. And then when the grid needed money, it would take the excess energy out from your battery and pay you for that.
That's cool.
It's super neat.
Yeah, so it just seems like the only people who are pushing against it are people who are making too much money on the status quo now.
That's their dumb business decision. I have no.
Well, that's the thing. They're the same ones who are arguing like it's not good enough yet. Solar panels aren't cheap enough yet. And it's like, well, they're making them cheaper all the time, and you're going to be the first one to buy one, to buy into it when it becomes like cheap enough. You're not going to invest in it now. Then they don't want to put in the work of investing in it now. That's why I give Elon Musk his due, because he puts a lot of his own money in developing the tech for the
Yep.
stuff he's trying to make.
He's not even making money.
He's not making money, and people keep pointing that out as if it's like a hard negative. Like,
Yeah.
see what he's doing exactly though. He's not leaning on the government to do all of his investment for him, because Republicans won't let the government do these kinds of investments anymore in these
Yeah.
kind of technologies. They just think it's a waste of time.
And not only that, but that's what happens when you're inventing something new. Like, I was watching the GE CEO or something, GE stock analyst, whatever. He was totally dissing on Tesla, saying that the company's not made a profit in 5 years. In fact, they're losing money and blah, blah. Why would you invest in them? You know, Ford's going up.
Yet their price climbs exponentially.
Yeah, and he's like, it's the stock price isn't worth it because, you know, they're not making any money. But the argument is he's literally creating something that's never been done before. He's not going to be making money for a long time. If you're buying his stock, then you're smart enough to know that he's not going to make money for a while. Everything he's getting, he is spending immediately to do what he can do. So, No, I agree. Somebody put out a thing like last year alone, the stock went up like 75%. So it started at 1, at whatever it was, and it gained 75% by the end of that year, by the end of last year. Mm-hmm. So it's growing exponentially. So people who are investing in Elon Musk, even though it's not making money, see that there's a potential here. There's money to be made here. You're literally investing in the future. Oh, his stock it's at 371 right now. Remember when it was like 300 and I was like, should I get it? Should I get it? Damn,
it's 371.
It's 371 right now.
I'm telling you, it'll be double that in a couple years.
I know. I need to buy some.
Show Chris the graph from where it started to where it is. It's ridiculous over 10 years.
It started at like. Why isn't it showing? Here we go. So in 2013, it was $37.
By the next year?
2014, it hit a pretty big high, kind of right in the middle of the year at, I want to go on there, like 220, 230.
Whoa.
230 by its second year.
2016, it went down to 151, and then now it's back up to...
That's when all the cars started catching fire, the batteries started catching fire, and people are like, oh, what's going on here? This little startup ain't gonna make nothing happen.
Oh yeah. 371. Damn it.
But yeah, if you had bought in in 2013 and gotten fucking assload of shares for $37,
$1,000 of shares, you would be so rich right now.
Ridiculous. That's the thing that makes it hard. It's like 371 is like, man, I can only buy a handful of shares.
I can buy one share.
I can buy one share maybe a month.
Yeah, I should buy like just accumulate.
Couple of months.
Every 2 months or something, buy like one share. Just keep buying it. It's just like $300 though. Just.
We should have bought into Amazon before they bought Whole Foods.
Is it up high now?
It jumped a bit, and other grocery retailers like Kroger's went down by a lot.
Interesting.
Because people are seeing what's going to happen. Amazon's going to take over the whole market. They're going to disrupt the market like they did with...
How big is Whole Foods, though?
Whole Foods, it was worth $37 billion cash. So pretty big, pretty valuable.
How much did they pay for it?
$37 billion.
$37 billion? Oh.
Amazon's like, I like what you're doing.
It's their biggest purchase yet, and it blows away their last bunch of purchases. This is a big move for them.
13.7 billion.
Huge move.
13.7?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to pay for a thing.
But I felt like Whole Foods was kind of just a...
It's niche, but it has some of the best relationships to get good fresh food.
Yeah. Hold on.
And that's what they want. Amazon wants the infrastructure that Whole Foods has.
That's cool.
They want all the relationships that Whole Foods has. And they want to put out a better product than any other grocery outlet. And so they want to just take whatever Whole Foods is doing, even if they're not that big, and make them bigger. Make them worldwide.
Okay, yeah. It looks like they've got a pretty big foothold over
the U.S.
That's... I don't know. I think Amazon's one of those companies that I sort of feels the same flavor as an Elon Musk. Like, I don't think that they're a negative company. So the idea that they're trying to use Whole Foods as infrastructure as far as like their connection with local farms, I mean, what's the evil side of that? The corporate terrible side of them uniting like that. Like, I think that's kind of a good merger. The way Whole Foods kind of does its processing seems generally better than how other large corporations like a Walmart's doing it. I don't want Walmart in control of this. I don't want them to be teaming up with Walmart because Walmart does shady things, but I think Whole Foods is a little bit better of a company.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the size of these things and monopoly status becoming sort of the standard.
But we have to think, I guess in my point of view, you would have to think that this is sort of a good idea, right? This is the future. So I would rather the people who are leading the future be somebody who has a brighter version of what the future is than a company that's in it solely for corporate negative profit. Like, I don't want a shitty southern company taking over the world. If a corporation's gonna be the person doing this is what our future is going to be. It is going to be like drones delivering groceries to me. Like, this is the future. So I want, like I said, a smart company. I want Elon Musk running that portion of my future. I feel like it's always going to be big. It's going to be one person kind of leading that way, but other companies are going to follow up behind it, but they have to set those tracks in place, I guess, I don't know. If that makes sense.
Makes sense.
I feel like they're a good company.
I feel a loss of choice happening here, both in terms of even what Amazon itself will offer. I already saw their I think Alexis is what it's called, their little voice box thing, where if you ask for groceries, it'll generically pick what brand of grocery you want. So if you ask for milk, it'll pick the brand of milk you want. So they're already sort of with the sense of convenience behind convenience, they're already trying to sell you their brands of things or the things that they think you should be buying. Which can already hurt a bunch of other brands if everything is sold mostly through Amazon.
Do you think that the sort of American culture would allow for that to kind of take over? Because
you already kind of do.
But if you have a system, and I think of Uber a lot like this, you have a system like taxis that kind of do that specific job, and then you have Uber and now other companies that are following suit that are doing the process better. So you're going to have Amazon being the spearhead of this, but then when another company comes up that offers you choice or offers better brands or offers better things, people will have more choices, but you have to have the one company that sort of spearheads it. I don't think American culture is so about the individualization that we want our own things. I don't want what Amazon tells me I want. I know what I want. Amazon tries to tell me all the time what it thinks I want, and I think if there was a company that buds out of that says, oh, you can preset. I feel like Amazon is one of those companies that would preset because they already have their buttons that you can do. So you can preset what brand of toast that you want. So it's either another company is going to come up or Amazon's just going to give me my choice.
I guess I see it similar. I actually agree with your point mostly that people will want their customization. Some won't.
Some won't.
Like the Apple types who want it done for them. But definitely some will, and there'll be a thing. For me, it ends up being similar to YouTube or World of Warcraft, where because
Sorry.
he has something to say, where it's because it's the first in the bank, it's the most ubiquitous one, it holds the most market share, it becomes the standard. So YouTube is the place to host your videos, even though they're doing as much as they can to shoot everyone in the foot, including themselves. They are still the place to drop videos off. And Amazon has set itself up even before all this as the place for online shopping.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they have.
So this is just another step toward them dominating all of online retail.
Yeah, but I'm kind of fine with that because I'm fine with it in the sense that, again, I think it's one of those better than the other companies where that I like Amazon, I trust Amazon, I shop and use this service. Everything that they've done is pretty futuristic. It's really envisionary.
Their prices are reasonable.
This whole idea of instant reviews. It's interactive enough, and I have a bunch of choices on their websites and things. So I like it. It is literally the marketplace. It is on just a platform in a sense. So add groceries to that. Please make my life easier. I want to get those dash buttons where I can basically do what they're doing, and you can program those dash buttons to be whatever thing you want.
Walmart and Amazon, though, you brought that up. That's gonna be crazy because that's gonna happen.
Yep.
You think so?
Yeah.
In the box, or they'll work something out.
But why does Amazon need Walmart?
It's just to expand further this whole. I mean, maybe not. Maybe because whatever they're going to do with Whole Foods will sort of start beating out Walmart.
This is what I think. So Facebook is sort of the Walmart, right? So they would just build more warehouses, or there's no need for Walmart. The reason why they need a Whole Foods is because they need a grocery section. They need grocery stores.
I think Walmart needs Amazon.
But Amazon doesn't need Walmart because Amazon is Walmart. What are you gonna go to Walmart and get that you can't already get on Amazon? They don't need Walmart. They could maybe
Do you
take their
think they're
infrastructure
competition?
and just destroy Walmart, but it's not going to be Walmart.
Do you think they're competition?
I think Walmart is. I mean, specifically, yeah. I think Walmart is a competition for at least the physical brick and mortar shops.
Brick and mortar.
Yeah, but as you get more into the drone world,
When drone delivery becomes more of a thing, that's when you'll see. That's why I'm pushing companies like Hobby Lobby to do more services inside their store. So rather than just selling certain things, help people make them. They already do custom framing. They cut fabric for you. What if they also helped you sew things together? Help you
That's
develop
cool.
your projects and stuff like that. Do floral arrangements. Help you set up your wedding and shit like that. If there's more services in brick and mortar shops, it'll help save them.
But Beth Mian does that stuff with the weddings.
See?
yeah,
If you offer more services for in-store places, it'll keep them alive.
Yeah.
Because people will, if it's just buying things, people will want to just stay home
Yeah.
and get it delivered
do it
to them.
online. Yep.
So you want to offer services in your store, and that's what's going to keep people coming to your brick and mortar store.
That's an
Yeah.
excellent point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Michael's does that though. I mean, they offer classes.
Hobby Lobby has classes,
Oh,
but though it's one of those kind of companies that could do that. Because I don't see Fred Meyer. Fred Meyer has a big pretty big grocery store, and it has its section of clothing and stuff like that. There's not much services it could sort of offer outside of
no, that's gonna go too.
yeah.
I mean, I think you'd have more convenience stores located around, like that would have batteries and things like that. Those are going to be necessities, but they're going to be a lot more smaller, and they'll just have.
That'd be an
literally the
interesting thing,
necessity.
actually. Like this would actually do a reverse of what people fear and usher in like an age of like small businesses, local little tiny shops.
Yeah, that'd
know,
be much better.
Because it's either Amazon or your local corner store. And it's like they don't got everything, but they got my branded cookie that I want right now.
Okay, so I like this sort of glimpse into the future that we just had. And this is kind of, I would say, the inevitable future, right? Drones and groceries are
Fair.
kind of an inevitable future.
Until someone invents like teleporters.
Yeah.
And that's,
No, easy. The tube things. I keep.
The tube things, one
That's
of those.
super simple.
let's not get into that.
Okay, so
Right
let's
there,
talk
you just
about...
pick it up like a red box, even closer. It's like your mailbox. There's a mailbox right everywhere.
Yeah.
Just have that
Tubes.
thing with a tube. Tube.
Let's talk about more of a gloomy, kind of necessary futuristic thing. So the police in the UK used facial recognition software to identify a suspect and arrest him in South Wales. What do you guys think about that? This use of
Facial recognition.
facial recognition technology. And just to also give you guys a interesting factoid, in the UK there are enough cameras for 1 to every 11 people there. So the chances of you going out in the UK getting captured on a camera, but that's run by the state, is like 100% basically. 1 for every 11. One camera, one person can easily watch 11 people on the screen.
Yeah. That's why I want to move to England and like run those camera hubs. Just watch that stuff all day. No, I mean it's all algorithms anyway. So, yeah, it's interesting because on one side you'd be like, well, if I'm not a criminal, why should I care?
That's always the argument.
On the other side, it's like, but now my face is logged into a registry of like things. So, and the idea of how tech works now, where they have face swap. Where suddenly my face could be on a fucking terrorist face on some like sketchy fucking security footage video. That's not too hard to pull off. There's literally, I think Snapchat has like a way of doing that just built in.
Yeah, it's fun.
So a good programmer could literally make that happen.
Absolutely. I also think that people are just going to abuse it. But, and it's already happened. So in the UK again, somebody got busted moving the camera into a girl's flat and video recording her. He got 80 minutes in 29 days. He recorded her and had zoomed in, had got her in her underwear and stuff. So, I mean, I think what people have to understand when it comes to mass surveillance and the argument that, oh, well, if you're not a criminal, you should be worried about it. It's just like, who runs this operation? These are people. People are fallible. Not just because they're in the government doesn't make them intrinsically good. They're going to be doing shitty things. And I don't want people to have that power. Bad enough that this corrupt, shitty government is going to be able to just monitor you wherever you are. I don't want regular people monitoring me. They're going to use it for, I don't know.
It doesn't even. Here's the thing. It doesn't even matter what the outcome is. It doesn't matter what they get, what they don't get. It doesn't matter. The fact that matters is they're doing it. Like,
they're watching you.
Yeah, it's like just because I'm not a criminal doesn't mean I don't deserve to be treated like a criminal. Mm-hmm. So, and like that's the thing. You don't need to be recording me. I don't care if I'm doing something bad or not. Like, no, it's not how it works. Well, it is how it works, but it's not how it should work.
Yeah, there's a line because it's like
you're
you're in public, and it's like, well, okay, so the sidewalks are run by the government, so they have sort of like an intrinsic right to sort of police it. And if it's sort of like better to put cameras than a cop there.
Yeah, but they don't police the air.
So that's the normal argument on the against side is too that it's an invasion of privacy. So I was reading through the comments all the time, and this was on a Slate article, and this guy named Sir Wallingham, he brought up an interesting point that it's not really an invasion of privacy because you don't have reasonable expectation of privacy when you're out and about. So I can record people walking in front of my house through my window. I can just watch them. Because my feeling was, the invasion of privacy when walking down the street, of course I don't have that, but I feel like I'm sharing my privacy with other people who are also sharing their privacy with me. But if you're videotaping me somewhere far away, we're not sharing privacy. But then it's hard because then you can ask, the questions are, well, if I can just watch somebody outside a window, I'm invading their privacy without sharing. And I can use a camera, I can use security, my house. So this is a question that's going to have to be asked the more we start video surveillancing. Where does our privacy end? Should we have a reasonable expectation of some sort of privacy?
And the difference is like there's a distinction between a person doing it, a random civilian sort of surveilling you, and the government doing it. They end up having a lot more leeway as to what they can do.
But they do need to protect us, so at the same time,
Yeah, like some random stranger shouldn't be recording me in the streets, but again, you don't have reasonable expectations of privacy in public.
That's kind of what my feeling was too. Like, we have three options. Either nobody can record anybody, so the government can't record us, we can't record them, which means cop interactions and things like that. We can all record each other, which means the government can record us and we can record all aspects of the government. Or maybe just civilians can record each other. Police departments have leeway to record their interactions with us, but mass surveillance can't happen. Like that seems, but we kind of want it to happen. But maybe there needs to be some.
It seems like the one that's happening is we're all just going to surveil each other.
I don't like that.
The government's already going to surveil us. We need to push for our right to surveil them back.
Yep.
That's all we can do now.
I was going to say the second one you said sounded really good.
That's interesting.
It's all because they're going to do it anyway. They're going to mass surveil us anyway. That's where the tech is. That's where the security ideas are.
The thing is that they won't let us. They won't let us. Like, because you said we can. We can record the government, and the government can record us, and we can record the government. The government ain't gonna let us record them. They're gonna do everything super tip-top secret.
I don't know that they can.
I don't
know if they can do that though, because we're in technology.
Leakers are the only thing that are helping us.
Phone.
Whistleblowers.
You're going to tell me that I can't record my public officials. You're going to tell me that I can't record.
They do everything behind the doors, though.
I know, but
cop interactions and stuff like that, like dealing with a cop, like I should be able to record that on my phone standing on the sidewalk.
Yeah, they try to stop us.
They try and stop it. Yeah, it's like no, that should be okay.
Yeah, and it is okay. You're allowed to.
Some places it's less and less allowed.
Well, some courts are ruling on that. I bet you the Supreme Court will rule on that. I think, if they're making deals behind closed doors, that's just always going to be a thing that happens. Because I don't want them recording me inside my house, then I guess I'm not going to record them inside every business meeting, dinner that they have.
But to a degree there is, like C-SPAN. There's multiple C-SPAN channels that literally do live feed of like people in Congress arguing stuff. So if you want to see how they're bullshitting us, it's live on television. People just don't care to watch, but it's there.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's like the best thing. Like it's joked a lot how boring it is, right? But it's like amazing that we have a channel that's just dedicated to like just showing us random votes being made and shit like that. And people are watching it. There's people who are like nerds about this stuff. just love watching it.
So
Sounds like a blast.
then we need to start advocating for people to
Watch
start-
C-SPAN.
We need to watch our
C-SPAN,
rights and
stand-
push our rights to
push
like,
our rights to be able to continue recording them.
Yeah, so we don't lose those rights.
We're all just going to be wearing cameras, little like dash cams everywhere we go.
Yep, everyone's going to get dash cams, and they're going to be all live feeding to a giant cloud.
Dash cams
Anyone's-
matter.
And whenever anybody's in trouble, the cam can literally, it's connected to your heartbeat and your heart rate and stuff like that as well. So when you're really scared, someone will actually check the feed, and if there's some kind of danger, the cops are sent to you almost instantly and stuff like that.
That's funny. I'm so...
All crimes fucking just plummet. It becomes almost like pre-crime. Because no one wants to do crazy shit because they're all on
That just
camera.
sucks.
That's the plot to the circle.
I don't want that.
We need crime, is that what you're saying?
No.
No.
Well, we definitely don't need to lose our individuality and our freedoms.
Yeah, I don't want to
As a price.
feel watched.
Price
I
of
mean,
freedom.
just imagine how you feel when a police officer is driving behind you or something. It's like, okay,
I'm so fucking nervous.
me too. And it's like, could you imagine
do
walking around
anything.
like that all the time? All the time, like stand up straight. This is some 1984 bullshit. The only difference is there's not a camera inside my house. But when you're walking outside, you're just like, walk. Don't look too suspicious walking this way. No, I don't want that. I'm so opposed to the government being able to mass surveillance me.
I had the most hardcore moment. I was driving from one place to another and on the highway, and I had a cop behind me. And the speed limit shifted from 70 miles an hour to 60 miles an hour when you went into this new zone. So I had to I'd never kind of done that in front of a cop, so I don't know what the official way to transition to less speed was. So do I just like put on the brakes and try and hit 60 right off the bat? Like,
I think you're thinking too much of it. Do it.
but so yeah, I ended up just sort of like letting it naturally coast down to 60 miles an hour and shit like that. And he was watching me the whole time. As soon as I dropped to 60, he was like, "Ooh," and he drove around me and left.
Oh, you were going too slow for him. He's
going
like,
too slow.
Fuck that.
He's like, "You should hit 70 for the rest of this, bro." But yeah, it's like insane because I'm not doing anything, but I get all like, oh man, I get all stiff and shit, and it makes me drive crappier. It almost guarantees that I'm going to get pulled over.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like shit. I did that one time. I got pulled over and I took off my seatbelt with this odd expectation to be taken out of the car. And he came up to the door and he cited me for not having a seatbelt while driving.
Oh, that sucks.
And I could not. How could I sit there and explain? Like, no, I literally just took it off just now. Like, he's not gonna buy that.
That's so funny. I was driving down the freeway, and it was I was going like 35 miles an hour because we were in traffic, and I passed this cop, and he pulled me over for not having a seatbelt. I'm like, how the fuck did this guy see that I didn't have a seatbelt on? I drove past him at like 35 miles an hour. I was so mad.
Did you not have your seatbelt on?
I know I didn't. And I was
Case closed, Johnson.
I did when he came up to the window. My seatbelt was on. I was like, oh shit. But he still got me, and I still don't even know to this day how it happened.
Oh, he's good. He can see the shadow. He's like,
I was
the
going
shadow's
so
all wrong.
fast.
That's all wrong. Her shoulders are way too sort of like symmetrical for that to make sense. Let's talk about manslaughter.
Manslaughter.
Oh, okay.
The Flint officials.
Yep.
Not the governor though. Not that douchebag governor. As far as I understand.
Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, so the Washington Post reports that the Michigan Attorney's General Office on Wednesday charged the director of the state's health department and 4 other public officials with involuntary manslaughter for their roles in the Flint water crisis, which has stretched into its 3rd year. Nick Lyon, director of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, also faces a felony count of misconduct in the office. So do you guys remember much about the Flint water crisis?
Here and there, I remember what it was is that they changed I think it was the county changed where they got their water from and end up contaminating water in the whole region. Mm-hmm. And it basically was a way to save money for the county, and they got sort of effed. There's been a push because like it was one of those things where like the Republican governor was trying to cut. It's just trying to cut fucking spending. And he's trying to find ways to like save money.
Well, I did hear that was like that's what lots of people were saying. I read through a couple of reports. I got a timeline from CNN, and one of the things that they were saying was that they actually switched from Lake Huron, which is where they were getting their stuff, to
Huron.
Flint. Huron. So they switched from Huron to Flint.
West Coasters.
And they switched from Huron, what is it?
I don't know. It's whatever you want.
Okay. So they switched because they were building a new pipeline. So it wasn't necessarily just to save money, but they were building a new pipeline there. So while they were building the pipeline, they wanted to save money and switch to the Flint one for a while. The Flint one was 19 times corrosive. The water in Flint, Michigan, the river, was 19 times more corrosive than the Lake Huron, and they didn't put the anti-corrosive agents in it, so it did like an amazing amount of damage all in these old pipes that were filled with just lead and rust and all kinds of stuff. So they made their full switch in April of 2014, and there was a lot of issues between 2014 and 2015 about the water having E. coli in it. So right away, right when they flushed, they had a fecal chloroform bacterium, which isn't necessarily E. coli, but if it's there, it means that E. coli might be present or might have the ability to. They
live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, so they
bumping shoulders.
They shop at the same stores.
So they put chlorine in the water.
The kids go to school together.
Oh man.
So they put chlorine in the water, and then they told them to stop using the water for a while. Oh, they put it on boil advisory. And then they said that they're going to flush the pipes with more chlorine. And that was in September 2014. And then in 2015, there was another outbreak. They chloroformed the water again, and they said that it was okay for general population, but not the elderly and the youth. So that was in the beginning of 2015. They had to flush it. So for 2 years, they were putting chlorine into this water and putting it on boiler advisories and no drink advisories. And then people started complaining that their water was discolored, and then bringing kids to like council meetings and showing that there were rashes and they were getting sick with an unknown illness. And then all the way from January 2015 until September of 2015, they were fighting with the residents and some city council members about whether or not they should switch from back and forth to different water. So the Environmental Protection Agency had detected dangerous levels of lead in the water from a resident who had contacted them complaining that her tap water was really bad. And then in March, she followed up with them. So the initial test on for the EPA had her have 397 parts per billion of lead in her water. And they told the health officials in Flint about these levels, and they ignored them. And basically they went to the council to decide whether or not they were going to switch water sources. The council the city of Detroit said that they would waive the $4 million fee in order for them to reset up their water supply. They said no. The residents after that pressed a charge, a criminal case or a civil case against the health officials, and then a lawyer said that it was absolutely baseless. So for 6 straight months, the residents were fighting back, and the EPA was fighting, and the ACLU all took part in like letting people know that this water wasn't drinkable, and they didn't do anything about it. Okay, so these are the interesting months. Okay, so the Flint City Council member vote 7-1 to stop using the river water because the EPA found 397 parts per billion of lead in the water, and the state-appointed emergency manager overruled the vote and said that it was incomprehensible and that the water was just as good as it was in Detroit.
Liar.
Bad.
What a liar.
And then in June, the EPA did another test of the water, and they found 13,200 parts per billion of lead in the water. And the EPA categorizes 15,000 parts per billion of lead as hazardous waste. So 15,000 is the mark for hazardous waste. They had 13,000 in their home, and they were drinking it. And then they came out on public radio and said that anyone who was concerned about drinking their water can relax. So you're drinking hazardous waste as classified by the EPA, and your health management
It's not classified as waste yet.
Okay, it's only like 4/5 of waste.
See?
It's It's full waste. It's 2 times waste. It's waste doubled. That's how much waste it was. And then...
fake news.
They said that the problem wasn't widespread and 170 homes were infected. And a lot of people caught diseases from this and 10 people died. So that's why they're charging them with manslaughter.
See, now you know, if it was me, you wouldn't have been drinking that water. So I don't even fuck with that water like that.
So one of the chief medical executive, she is facing obstruction of justice charges because she threatened to withhold funding from the Flint Area Community Health and Environmental Partnership if the organization kept looking for the source of the disease outbreak that was happening.
Oh.
So they knew this was happening.
Oh, shit.
And she threatened to withhold funding for it.
That obstruction of justice, that'll get you every time.
What's kind of annoying to me is that, like, I get why people are focusing on this. The mainstream media is reporting it as, oh, you know, it's so sad that these people don't have water, and look at the crisis these individual people are going through. I'm sad about that, and I feel bad for them, but I am outraged at the amount of politicians that were... like, people who are responsible for this is your job. You're the health and environmental protection people. What the fuck are you doing? Like, your job is to make sure that the water is good. Your job is to look into why there was 2 times the amount of outbreak for this disease that had happened here in, like, a span of a year. And they're telling people who are supposed to look into it not to look into it. It's ridiculous. I think the media is not focusing on where it needs to be focusing, which is, how dare these officials do this? Why are we just, like, sweeping it underneath the rug? Oh, let's just focus on the sad people of Flint. And again, yes, it's a sad issue, but I'm more upset about the individuals that let this happen.
No, and I agree. It's a good combination of what is considered mainstream media, where the focus is on the wrong thing. It's on sensationalism. It's on heartstrings being pulled, and it's trying to obfuscate what are some of the more systemic issues at hand. There's a lot less depth is what the problem with mainstream media is. And there's no depth to it. They take a story, they fluff it out, and they move on to the next one.
And they really focus on the emotional aspect because they know that that's going to draw more people's attention, or that it's going to play on their emotions more. Maybe if you play on their emotions, they're not going to see boring. What's happening behind the scenes. Ugh.
No, absolutely.
Because I'm just so mad. What are you doing? What, like, this is... If you're not running the government the way it's supposed to be doing, what the fuck are you doing with all the money? What are you doing with your day? What does your day look like? Like, you're not doing your one job, then what the fuck are you doing?
It's fundraising for the next election.
So frustrating.
That's all that needs to be sort of addressed is I just need my fundraising. I need to be able to make money for me and my buddies so we can get elected.
But you're the chief medical executive. Like, it's not like you're senator.
Yeah, and you didn't get that job being a good guy. You got that job intimidating and schmoozing the right people.
In the Department of Health and Human Services, it's like these aren't politically active jobs. These are...
No, they're the most politically active.
No, they're a regulatory agent.
Yeah.
What kind of campaign? I don't see this guy's name on a campaign. I don't get to vote for the Department of Health and Human Services.
Oh, but you best believe that the companies know who he is and know when his wife's birthday is and where he likes to vacation.
That's what they do with their day all day.
They know exactly what this guy's about. And
fuck these people.
That's the thing, man. Well, what are you gonna do? We're gonna run wild in the streets and just fucking just start hunting each other?
Yes.
For meat?
Yeah. No.
Do we let the robots decide everything?
The right literally thinks we're in a civil war. I've seen a couple...
No, more important than that, they think that the left is inciting a civil war. So this is them looking for the excuse they need to start killing people in the streets. So they can go like, oh, they started it, and then...
But to their credibility in just this incident, there is left people inciting violence. There is a whole wing of this party, if you will, inciting violence, totally praising it, totally doing it. And again, it's the same equivalent to the site. No, not Bernie, but
he's been picked up by both right wing and sort of neoliberals as sort of punching bag, mostly because like Jeremy Corbyn, I think his name is Jeffrey Corbyn, the guy who won in or his parliament won in the UK. That was sort of like a Bernie-esque type guy, and so then they're seeing that people like that win, and so there needs to be an extra push to like tie Bernie to any kind of violence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the crazy guy who shut up that baseball game
Yep.
or baseball practice.
But in all honesty, I mean, who are the people who are the most violent on the right? I mean, on the left. It's not the Bernie people, even though he's an exception, but there's always an exception. It's the Hillary people. It's those crazy it's the crazy social justice warriors. Those who are just just crazy. They're just off their chain.
Well, and the real violence comes from like not even technically any of those people. It comes from like Antifa, from like the more anarchist side of these whole things. Black Bloc.
I think they're definitely overlapping that Antifa, and then as more of
it's
these...
part of the propaganda angle of like taking anything that this particular element of anarchists do, because basically they're anti-corporatists, so they end up hanging out with lefties anyway, and they get tied into like all the sort of like protest violence comes from those guys.
Yeah.
And it gets sort of painted as like a full-on leftist thing. But we'll see. We'll see what the 2018 election looks like. We'll see after a year or so of what Trump is bringing to the table. Let's see who the people blame. Will it be the Democrats? Will Trump be blamed as being the X factor in all this and causing all this sort of violence?
Oh, everyone's got every excuse to blame Trump. Just blame him for everything.
I mean, he is a moron.
Yeah, he is.
Like, that was the one thing that was most surprising about his presidency is like how fucking incompetent he is to even get the things he wants done.
Done.
Like it really is, and that's what's going on like with John Ossoff in Georgia. Georgia's having a special election on Tuesday, June 20th, I think it is. And what I'm worried about is the fear of voter suppression and things like cross-check and voter purging. Or in Georgia, about 80,000 people were registered by this one organization, and half of those people were kicked off the voter rolls for one reason or another. They're still investigating why exactly. But that means that like tons of people who would be voting in this election suddenly are cut off. And the margin's already tight. It's like, I think he's at like 47, or he's like 49, she's at 47, with like a 4% margin of error, which means they're right inside the box. So that's the room they play in. That you move a couple 100,000 people this way and that way, and suddenly you got your 1%, 2%, and you win an election. Trump won that way. Trump won 3 random states by like less than 1%, and that's how he won the election, because winner take all.
It wasn't just because she sucks.
Yeah, I'm talking about the specific of like him winning those specific 3 states,
okay.
Or put him over the top, because winner take all states.
Yeah.
So he won these 3 random states by very, very, very tight margins, but he got
a weird thing.
But he got all the points for that, so that's what put him over the top. That's why even all the predictions, when people say the polls were wrong about Hillary, they weren't technically wrong. She won the popular vote. What they were wrong was these 3 local states and what was going on there. So people doing the polling in those states weren't looking at the right things, and that's how it all pans out, man. Shit gets real in the hood, and you can't stop it. All you can do is ride this money train all the way to the left, and you can put a rattlesnake on a roller coaster, but he's not gonna bake you a cake. And that's the best advice I can tell you when it comes to all this stuff. And really, I just want to say that I hope that everything turns out okay, and that Russia kicks out its dictator Putin. The teenagers seem to be all about not the millennials over there in Russia. Definitely are just like the way it's so bad in Russia where they can't even like do democratic protests, where they can't even do protests for democracy. All they can do is do protests against corruption. Most of their protests are like, can we just not have a corrupt government? Just whatever. We don't even care if you like make fake elections and like kill your opponents. Can we just not have a corrupt government? Fucking baby steps here, guy. And then you got movements like in France, where you got Macron, who's basically a neoliberal, but he's also one of those more like Elon Musk-y type dudes, who's like one of the new school entrepreneurs who thought I could run for president. He's investing a lot of money in letting startups become a thing, making it easier for startups to like start their shit up or fail, you know?
Right from the garage, huh?
Right from the garage, you know, give them some loans, some grants and stuff like that. And more people are going to try and start small businesses.
It's not even garage. It's just like a wooden fence that's barricaded a small piece of land on beside their little hut.
Are you being racist against French people?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about somebody else.
Thought you were talking about Albanians.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that's my feeling on the matter of Macron. Macarena.
Hey, Macarena.
And if Corbyn's thing ends up winning in UK and he ends up being the prime minister or whatever, I forget exactly what the fuck he's running for. I'm running at a blank here. You'll have both UK and France being pretty much and
well, they don't have another election until 2020 now. Because he lost.
But they won major.
Yeah, so they won like 30 seats, and she lost 12 seats. So an embarrassment for her. She still is prime minister, but so she did the election at snap election so that she could gain more seats in parliament. Yeah. So
they made it seem like he was gonna win.
Well, no, they made it seem like he won because he won a lot of seats. Because again, the point of her election was to get more houses and more seats in Parliament, so that she could enter the Brexit negotiations. Because she wants to do a hard Brexit, and she had a lot of power already in Parliament. I think they had the majority. Her Conservative Party did, but it wasn't enough. She wanted
she wanted a super majority. She wanted to be able to ram anything.
She wanted
through.
mandate power, basically. So she didn't have that, so that's why she did the snap judgment or snap election.
Shitty for her. It cost her.
And she lost 13 seats, which made me so happy because the Labour Party head, Corbyn, he is a Bernie. Basically, he's the equivalent of Bernie. So it was like a Bernie versus Hillary. And their youth totally voted. Not just, a lot of their youth. I saw the two graphs of millennials who voted, and hands down, the two maps of Bernie Sanders and Corbyn's looked exactly the same. It was so nice.
Cool.
So the youth definitely wants more of that.
They want outsiders. Mm-hmm. They want people who give a shit. You know, like they had the fire recently in the giant tower, and there's talk about moving those people into a bunch of empty mansions that are in the neighborhood. You know, because the rich people who own them aren't doing anything with them. Let's just like move them in there. And so that was an argument of like that's way too socialist. But it's like,
what else are you gonna do?
What else are you gonna fucking do?
And they fucked it up.
The government fucked it up.
And she's not even out there talking about it. People were calling her out. She was avoiding having conversations. And where was Corbyn? Down on the floor talking to them, giving them hugs, like interacting with them. And when she went down to visit, she didn't talk to any reporters. She didn't talk to any victims. She had like her security around her. So it's nice to see them kind of not in the same boat as us, but that the next generation is kind of the same as us. We have the same vision. Yeah,
it's across the board. Like you even go to like Iran.
Yeah, Iran, Russia, like you were saying. Mm-hmm. This is kind of the future, and I think it's because we have more of that community feel.
There's more of a global community of people who are all sort of agreeing what our values are. Mm-hmm. You know, there's sort of more of an idea of like, well, we all agree this is right, and we all agree this is wrong. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that ends up being the whole thing. You got anything else? Sort of finish this guy off and then we'll...
No. Just, everyone make sure you get enough sleep.
Get enough sleep, eat your vegetables. I'm planning on buying one of those, like, those protein shake powders, but ones that have, like, veggies in them. So you get, like, a bunch of servings of your veggies in them. Mm-hmm. And just doing that. Because, fuck actually eating veggies.
According to this guy from TED Talks, he did an experiment. And the more fruits and vegetables you eat, you apparently get a what's that thing? When you think about it in the back of your mind.
Subconscious?
Yeah, subconsciously, people will find you more attractive due to the color tone that your body produces from eating healthier.
I've noticed that too, where I feel like I look hotter than I usually do. Since I've changed my diet.
What the fuck are you talking about?
the bitches have noticed.
They're like, oh shit, look at this dude eating his fruit and vegetables. I bet his fart smells so good.
I wonder if he eats asparagus. I bet you he doesn't.
Asparagus is good though.
But I think we should probably cut it off here.
Yep.
Have a good old time.